What's up, people of the internet? Welcome to the one and only In Your 20s podcast, where you become smarter by listening to smart people in their 20s. I'm your cool host, Aditya, and for the first episode, we have Ansh Sarkar, a final year engineering student at KIT, currently doing a research internship under my tax and an ex intern at LinkedIn. In this episode, we are going all in for an insightful episode where we talked about how to get into my tax, the roadmap for an internship at LinkedIn, the art of learning fast, and so much more. A pro tip: don't miss out on the last parts of the episode. It's amazing, trust me. So, without further ado, let's go. Hi Ansh Bhaiya. First of all, thank you so much for taking your time out. Means a lot. Especially your
Mhm.
busy schedule and all. First of all, how is life going on there, Canada way?
I've been here for like 2 weeks now, and right now it's 10 a.m. in the morning. And usually mornings in Canada is like I have to wake up a bit early for my college classes because if you see it from an Indian Standard Time point of view, I have my classes at 2 p.m. So that's 4:30 a.m. here. So I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I do my classes, and then the classes get over around, let's say, 6:30. I go make my breakfast around 7. Breakfast is usually waffles with an omelette or something, and so I learned cooking as soon as I came to Canada. So that's a plus point right there. Either with my professor at the university or um, anybody essentially, and after that I usually have meetings. So the morning half is reserved for meetings. So it's 10 right now. We're on this meet, isn't it? So something like that. And then the rest of the day is usually goes into the project. So the project I'm working on here in my tax. And then yeah, then lunch I cook myself. Dinner also, I usually keep my dinner late. I usually just stick to fruit juices here, and because I don't want to do the dishes after I complete cooking. And then I just work till around 9 10 max, and then I sleep off at 10 p.m. because I need to get up at 4 again in the morning. So yeah,
Right.
that's how
Pretty
life is here.
pretty busy life, definitely.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
the social life out there, like partying, enjoying, going out, maybe?
so I'm here in Guelph, and then downtown is like a few kilometers from here. So like this is not the town center. So people are a bit sparsely placed around. So we do have a lot of houses in our block, but then even when you go outside your building, it's difficult to spot people here. Uh, so yeah, it's scarcely populated, right? I think
Right.
the entire population of I think Ontario, the entire province wouldn't match the population of Siliguri, right? I mean, it's pretty sparsely populated, so it's difficult to find people around there. Usually, either in their houses or they go to work. And currently, it's summer break here. Although it's cold, it's still cold, but it's called summer break here. And new sessions are going to start from September. So everyone's right now is either on vacation or they're just sitting at home and relaxing. September is when the social thing will sort of go full fledged. Right
Right.
now, my professor has allowed me to work from home, because I just need to code, right? There's nothing I need to go to a university for. So I go to the university when I want to sort of get a change of environment or something, but then I usually code from my building. And the rest,
Right.
whenever I go to grocery shopping and stuff, I get to see people. But yeah, and just Indian interns. I've met a lot of Indian interns after coming here, but then as such, social life is a bit hampered here.
Right. But it seems cool. Like you're just chilling and doing work, and then also
Yeah,
enjoying a different environment, and that too in just the college life itself. That's interesting.
yeah. I mean, it's a good experience.
Definitely.
Like for the first week or so, you do become a bit homesick because you're a bit away from, not a bit
Hmm.
away from home. You're very away from home,
Indian
right?
students.
And then like, yeah. I mean, it took. How long was the flight? I think it was 14 hours. It was a 14-hour flight. I took a direct flight from Delhi to Toronto. So you're like 14 hours from home via flight. That's around 10,000, 11,000 kilometers. So you feel a bit homesick. But after a week, you're like, okay, chalo, वापस चले जाएंगे कोई नहीं. So
Right,
yeah,
right. Just a matter of time.
yeah,
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 let's. I think like we can start with the MyTex, your experience with MyTex.
yeah.
How did it start? Or yeah, everything, anything related to MyTex and your
Mhm.
experience overall in general.
So in order to understand like how I got into my tax, look, I've seen people who have had a widely varying background and they still got into my tax. So I'm not saying that this is the only way you can get in, but then for me, everything that sort of culminated into this opportunity was that. Um, so as soon as I passed out of high school, like class 12, I created my LinkedIn account, right? As soon as I passed out. And I joined college. I already had a decent network on LinkedIn. And um, I sort of leveraged it always, right? Okay, so I've always leveraged that LinkedIn network there. And in my first year of college, I was like, let's explore around a bit, and then I joined like a ton of clubs there. So I think I was in 6 different clubs in my first year, and
That's
that
a lot of
too in.
clubs.
Yeah, I mean, see the
Too much
plus
time.
point was that it was COVID time, right? So
Hmm.
the first 2 years of my college life has been online. Right. So it was easy to manage because we were at home, and then like running between the meetings of 6 club was like just ending one Google Meet and starting another Google Meet. Right. That's all you had to do to switch between clubs.
Right.
So yeah, I joined 6 clubs. By the second semester, I left 4 of them because they weren't doing anything. So I was there in 2 active clubs, and then second semester I started giving hackathons. So I remember my first hackathon was in my second semester. So we had formed this close sort of a team of 4 people, and we used to take projects to like multiple hackathons. So I think I've given around 15 to 20 hackathons easily in just my second semester wala part, right? And so what happened was I was able to like develop a lot of skills because, as you know, hackathons require you to come up with solutions and you need to sort of prototype them in a very short span of time. So, 2 things. Number one, it helped me to understand how to learn things faster, and number two was that obviously it improved my technical skills and knowledge base, right? Moving into my second year, I got interested into startups. So, I, along with one of my friends, we started a hell lot of things. Okay, so we started a small startup. We called it Embrace. In fact, you can still see the LinkedIn page. Okay,
Right,
it's
right,
still
right. Checked
alive.
it out.
Yeah, yeah. So Embrace, that's still there. So we were trying to sort of match. It was something like Survey Monkey, I guess, where we were trying to match surveys to targeted audiences. So we did a lot of stuff there. Like we even had someone with an MBA from an IIM, and we were trying to like we were consulting her on a regular basis. So like we were doing it pretty seriously. But then I think it was a letter from a reputed business management school, and they were like, so we had applied for an incubation under them, and they were like that, and they pointed out very obvious loopholes in our plan, and then we were like, okay, ये तो नहीं चलने वाला, so we had to close it, and yeah, and then we sort of parted ways for a while. After that, I've tried a lot of things. I've tried writing books, and we've created Instagram pages. We have tried to scale Instagram pages. I think we tried around four different times. Okay, so like in four different niches, we have tried to scale Instagram pages. Um, then I had a sort of organization running where we used to provide like free website development services to NGOs, because that was the COVID times, and NGOs also needed websites. So we were like, why not do it for free for them? So we used to go to them, pitch them that we'll revamp your website for free, and we used to do that. So yeah, and we work for like a ton of startups, right? Ton of upcoming startups, and then by the end of my third semester, we started a small group of friends. We were five people, and we decided that we'll do freelancing projects together. So we started searching for freelancing projects that did pretty well, and then we did it again. We did a ton of projects, helped a ton of startups, grew our network a lot, right? So we came to know a lot of very important people, and we closed it off with a government project, and then after that college started after the fourth semester. So we were like, okay, let's stop this part of it. Some of them are still continuing it. In fact, one of my friends who was there in that team, he's still doing freelancing. He's doing pretty well. But then I was like, let's move on to something new and let's do something else. So again, fourth semester got over. Fifth and sixth semester, I was preparing my technical skills, and I got into a program called C4GT, Code for GovTech. It's a government program where you work on government-based tech stack. So you know DigiLocker, right? DigiLocker, Aadhaar, UPI.
Right,
Uh,
right.
Technology is based on, yeah, government stacks. So for 2 months, I worked on a concept called verifiable credentials. It was something uh, that was implemented by Singapore way back, but India still doesn't have it. So I was supposed to implement it so that India could use it. So for 2 months, I worked on that. They were happy with it. So I did a 1 year internship with the company who sponsored C4GT. So I stayed there for a long, long time. Like I stayed there for I think around 7 months. Uh, and while doing that, I got an internship into LinkedIn. So I had to leave that company. Got into LinkedIn from May of 2023 to July of 2023. And okay, so coming to my tax again. Coming to my tax. So
Nice.
this was the background, right? So this
Yeah,
is the
cool.
background, and then now my tax comes in, and I've been eyeing my tax since I was in first year. Okay, so in fact, yesterday I was going through my Google Docs, right? I was going through all my Google Docs, and the very first Google Doc that I created, like, it had my tax in it, right? So these were the things I had sort of a bucket list in my BTech journey. So there was my tax written on it, and like I'd almost
Manifestation
forgotten that
worked.
I had that. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, my tax came along, and I think the applications open around August. Yeah,
August.
August
Right.
or September. Yeah. So they open around that time. They close around October, if I'm not wrong. And then, so I was like, okay, let's apply for this. And and okay, by that time, I also had a strong research profile. So I had done research under like multiple professors and all that. So I had around anywhere between 5 to 10 publications, right? So I
Oh
have
my god.
research papers as well. Yeah. So that helped a lot. So my first publication was when I was in class 10. Okay, and then
Really?
my yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
I mean, so that was on like you heard about time dilation, right? I think the teaching in
Yeah, yeah,
class
yeah.
12, time dilation.
Right.
Yeah. So the one that I worked on was on time dilation. So there was like another factor that I considered in time dilation and created a paper on that. And then I was working on a conjecture called the Collard's conjecture. Like I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but I was working on that. Uh, I was working with a friend of mine, but then he got into the University of Glasgow. So he went
Okay.
abroad, and then I sort of left that paper, and it's still as a draft, saved as a draft with me. I'll probably complete it. I'll probably complete it. So the my next paper was in second year, I think third semester. Like long gap in between class 10 and third semester, and it had some quantum computing. After that, I've done like a series of papers. So I have a few papers, and yeah, so that's my research background. So coming back again to my tax, I applied for it, and the process was, I think, pretty straightforward. Like the application is pretty straightforward. They need you to upload a bunch of details. I think some sort of you need to give your personal details, identification details. I guess that's for Aadhaar or passport. I'm not sure. Um, And then eligibility criteria is you should be more than 18 years of age. You should have at least 1 to 3 semesters left after you complete my tax. So that essentially means that you can either be in your second or third year if you want to apply to my tax. Right.
Right.
So that's the and then you need letter of recommendations. So since I had done research under these professors, I took letter of recommendations from them as well as from my mentor from the C4GT program, right? So since I had worked on this verifiable credential thing in C4GT and it was pretty impactful, so I asked him for an LOR and he agreed. So I got an LOR from him, from my cryptography teacher, and from my DSA professor. So yeah, strong letter of recommendations. I got three of them. And then yeah, I guess you're also supposed to upload your transcripts, academic transcripts. So like your results for the previous semesters. I guess I had like 5 semesters worth of results, so I had to upload that. And I guess that's pretty much it. You don't have to upload anything else. Yeah, you do need to tell the professor about your experiences and why you're the best suited person for that role. So that's sort of a statement of purpose there. And apart from that, they have this entire portal where there are more than 2,000 projects. Okay, and you need to choose projects. I think you need to choose 7 of them, and then you need to rank projects based on your preferences. So I did that. I chose 7 of the projects. I ranked them based on my preferences, and then yeah, and then I guess you just wait. In order to choose the 7 projects, there are a few guidelines as well. Again, not I don't remember what the exact guidelines were. You can choose 7 projects, but the 7 should be from at least 3 different provinces in Canada. They have this. They have some rule, right?
Right.
Uh, yeah, and then you rank them, and then you just wait, and then they reply to you in, I guess, when did my results come out? I guess they came out sometime in December, late December or January, if I'm not wrong. Um, so yeah, the results came out, and there can be just 2 things. Okay, so I got accepted, but then a lot of people get waitlisted, right? So the
Right.
waitlisted category is where if someone who got accepted
Hmm.
doesn't accept it,
Right.
you get that.
Pretty
So
much like
that's
college
yeah.
application process, right?
Correct. I mean, in college applications, you have a higher probability that someone will leave, and you can slide up. In my tax, it's a bit difficult.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right. Who would
yeah,
leave that opportunity to just go abroad and something cool?
yeah. I mean, two cases. It's like because see, you need to like you need to have an upfront investment initially because for my tax you have the visa costs, you have the airfare, and you need to book accommodation before you reach Canada, like of course, and Overall, it's going to cost you around anywhere between 3 to 3.5 lakhs upfront investment, right?
Okay.
And only once you come to Canada can they give you the funds, right?
Okay.
So it's like you need to, if you're 100% sure about my tax,
Hmm.
only then would you be willing to like put up 3.5 lakhs, get everything done, come to Canada, then wait for a while, receive the funds. Once you receive the funds, you're like, okay, right. So till that point in time, till you have not received the funds, it's just uh, you just need to believe the process, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times have it happens that you book flight tickets, flights got cancelled, they were
Hmm.
non-refundable, right? So again, you need
Right.
to minimize risk in that way. Yeah,
But
yeah.
the this entire program is like it's stipend, right? They give a stipend for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not a stipend exactly. It's more like funds. So they have an entire breakdown
Right.
of funds. So the award letter that you get once you get accepted into MyTax, it's written there that this is your allowance for accommodation per week. This is your visa allowance. This is your airfare allowance. This is your food allowance for the entire week. So I think they divide weekly, right? But then once you come to Canada, they don't give it to you in a weekly fashion. They give it to you in maximum three installments, right? So
Right.
you get all your funds. I think so. Okay, one other thing. My tax is usually 12 months long, but if you and your
Right.
professor agrees on it, you can compress it to 10 weeks. 12
Okay.
weeks versus 10 weeks. Okay,
Right.
so I've compressed it to 10 weeks because like it's usually winter here by the time if I was to stay here till 12 weeks,
Right.
I want to like uh, and I think that I'll be able to complete the project in 10 weeks. So yeah, so I think my total comes to around somewhere around 7 to 8 thousand Canadian dollars, right? So that entire amount is divided into three separate phases and you get it in three installments, right?
Right. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, that's how you get it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's the topic for your research?
So my project is on misinformation research. So misinformation as in you must be seeing that there is a lot of um, let's call it fake news, right?
Hmm. Right.
So there's a lot of fake news revolving around a multitude of things, right? But yeah, we have a primary focus on agriculture, so agricultural produce related misinformation, agro-food misinformation. Uh, and not to combat that, I'm trying to create a platform where researchers can come and curate resources. So it's like a collaboration platform for researchers could sort of come on that platform. They could sort of lend their expertise and sort of provide resources which they feel are authentic, so that the common public can also see those resources and that acts like a source of truth, right? So that acts as a sort of
Right.
truth database for everyone. Yeah,
Cool. Cool.
that's the
Seems
project.
like, yeah, I think the best one of the best approach to implementing technology is like actually implementing on agriculture and healthcare stuff rather than just
Yeah.
the hype around the future technologies, because like at the core we are dependent on these types of things, and like technology,
Yeah.
when we are using that to scale, it's great, it's great.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I just feel that, uh, like when you're coding, every line that you code should have an impact on somebody or something. If it's not
Definitely.
impactful code, then there's no point in coding it. So,
Right. Every motor
yeah.
like dream of a coder.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so the my tax is 12 weeks long. Starts from August. Application starts from August till what, mid of October,
Yeah.
right?
Around that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, in fact, it's already started. In fact,
yeah,
MyTex applications are now open. In case
right.
someone didn't know, I hope they come to know from this. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And for the benefit of the audience, like most of them have this question that CGPA, would CGPA matter in these types of like applications or not?
It does. It does.
Right. What's the
I
what's the
mean,
bare minimum like to have a good chance of getting accepted?
okay, look, so the bare minimum is dependent on the college which you're from, right?
Right.
If you're from an IIT or an NIT, then goes without saying that the tag matters a lot, right?
Right.
But then apart from that, in an IIT or NIT, it's obviously more difficult to score. So you can like anywhere between like anywhere above 8 should be fine if you're from an IIT, I guess. Like
Right.
yeah, anywhere above 8 should be like yeah, you're good to go if you're above 8. But in case if you're from like for example me, right? So I'm from a private institute. So in my case, it's always better if you have a CGPA above 9, right?
Right.
So if you have a CGPA above 9, you're good. Anywhere less than 9 is you never know.
True. True.
Yeah.
True. And
And to be
is
honest, yeah.
right. Go forward. Go forward.
Yeah, no, I was saying that to be honest, it depends on the professor as well. If the professor, because at the end of the day, the application and the person is going to be selected by the professor, right? So if the professor feels that it's more important to have a good CGPA, then he'll judge you based on that. If he feels that experience is something that's more important, then he'll judge you on the basis of that. So depends totally on
Right.
the professor and the project. Yeah.
Right. And another question I was having was, is this isn't just related to technology or any particular field, right? It's open to almost what, anything field which is
Yeah,
there.
any field.
Yeah.
So the projects portal that they provide you, you can I think yeah you can filter out on the basis of your field as well. So anything you have computer science, you have I have friends here in the same college um, who are in mechanical, and yeah any field in general. Like it could be agriculture, it could be mechanical, electrical, doesn't matter.
Right.
Like they have projects for all the fields, every field. Yeah,
Cool. Cool. Interesting.
yeah,
And like,
yeah.
yeah, adding on to the my text thing, you said you had done a lot of research papers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
as a Indian student, as a typical Indian student, what we are taught is just get good grades, get into IIT, or if not, at least NIT, and then work
Mhm.
for the placements, good placement. But then
Yeah.
there is, and you are here like with different, you're handling balancing all of them together, like good research, and then with coding, and good in a lot of things like internships and stuff. So the question is like, how, why did you think of going into this research path as well as just being a, rather than just being a like preparing for placements and stuff?
So again, in my case, it was like um, I told you that I'm from a third tier college, right?
Yeah.
So in IITs and NITs, there has always been this hardcore culture of competitive programming. In fact, like I have a lot of IIT friends, and what I've noticed there is okay. So this is another thing which I feel someone can do if they're like serious about it. When I was in my first year, what I did was uh, I always wanted to be an IIT, okay, um, and like who doesn't, right? Who doesn't?
Definitely,
But
who
then
doesn't?
yeah, but then when I was in my first year of college, I was like, ठीक है, IIT नहीं हुआ, NIT भी नहीं हुआ, but then let's just figure out what is it that makes those students from an IIT and IITian, right? In fact, like again, इसमें भी it's the same thing. The ratio of people who work really hard versus people who don't work really hard is the same in both IITs, NITs, third tier college, doesn't matter. वो ratio सब जगह same है, ठीक है.
Right.
Every college there will be a very small set of students जो बहुत हार्ड वर्किंग होंगे, ठीक है. तो आईआईटी के केस में वो जो टॉप स्टूडेंट्स है, व्हाट आई डिड वाज कि मैंने एक सॉर्ट ऑफ डेटाबेस सॉर्ट ऑफ बनाया एंड मैंने उसमें इन सारे लोगों के आई गॉट द रेज्यूमेस, ठीक है. सो ऑनलाइन अगर तुम जाओगे तो ऑनलाइन जाके इवन इफ यू सर्च फॉर लाइक आईआईटी बॉम्बे रेज्यूमेस, बेस्ट आईआईटी बॉम्बे रेज्यूमेस, तो कोरा पे तुम्हें ऐसे मल्टीपल रेज्यूमेस मिल जाएंगे, ठीक है. सो
Right.
उन रेज्यूमेस को एक बार पढ़ के देखो, ठीक है, एंड देन यू विल रियलाइज कि what exactly was it which made that person the person he is, right? So I saw that research के साइड में बहुत ही हाई इंक्लिनेशन था, या तो रिसर्च के साइड में बहुत हाई इंक्लिनेशन था, या फिर इंटर्नशिप्स एंड डीएसए कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामिंग इसकी तरफ बहुत ज्यादा इंक्लिनेशन था. एंड आई वाज लाइक कि ठीक है, since they're an IITian, they can afford to like either focus on research, still get placed really well, or either focus on just DSA and CP, still get placed really well. अपने केस में let's try doing both this time, ठीक है. मतलब रिसर्च पे भी फोकस करते हैं एंड डीएसए एंड सीपी भी फोकस करते हैं. सो आई थिंक फर्स्ट ईयर में आई हैव दिस फ्रेंड जिसने मेरे को इंट्रोड्यूस किया. मेरे को उससे पहले सीपी का सीवी नहीं पता था, तो ही इंट्रोड्यूस मी टू कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग. हमने साथ में सीपी की रीच्ड अराउंड 5 स्टार कोड शेफ पे, एंड देन वी वर लाइक कि तो मेरे को और आगे लेके जाना था, बट देन आई रियलाइज्ड कि मेरे को सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं मिल रहा था सीपी करके, कि लाइक कुछ हो रहा है, यू नो कि आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन अ फैन ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट कि दे हैव एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन द रियल वर्ल्ड. सो सीपी करके मेरे को वो दिख नहीं रहा था ऑनेस्टली. तो इसलिए मैंने सीपी छोड़ दिया जब मैंने फर्स्ट ईयर में, आई टोल्ड यू राइट, फर्स्ट ईयर खत्म हुआ, आई लेफ्ट सीपी एंड आई गॉट इनटू डेवलपमेंट, एंड दैट्स व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड विद माय हैकाथॉन्स एंड एवरीथिंग, ठीक है.
Right.
एंड देन hackathons have played like a major role in here. So, coming back to your question, the only reason I chose to do both areas was because मैं already CP थोड़ा बहुत कर चुका था पहले, so I had a decent base for CP, foundation for CP. Second year went into development and research. Third year भी मैंने पूरा development ही किया है. अभी थर्ड ईयर जस्ट गॉट ओवर. हाँ, तो थर्ड ईयर मैंने पूरा डेवलपमेंट किया है. फोर्थ ईयर अभी चल रहा है मेरा, एंड देख के मेरे को जितना लग रहा है ये सेमेस्टर भी पूरा डेवलपमेंट में ही जाने वाला है. बट देन थर्ड ईयर के स्टार्टिंग से आई स्टार्टेड डीएसए एज वेल, तो लीड कोड पे आई स्टार्टेड बीइंग कंसिस्टेंट. तो ये सब करके रिसर्च में ऑलरेडी रिसर्च चला आ रहा था, बट देन आई रियलाइज कि रिसर्च में जब तक यू डोंट डू रिसर्च फ्रॉम अ रियली गुड प्लेस,
Right.
द रिसर्च इज यूजुअली पता क्या होता है, लाइक they'll give you a ton of papers, ठीक है, and they'll ask you to read all those papers, and they'll ask you to summarize the findings from all those papers into another paper, ठीक है. तो there is no novelty in it, कुछ नया नहीं हो रहा है उस रिसर्च में. आप बस
Right.
पढ़ रहे हो, पढ़ के आपको लग रहा है अच्छा ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, आप नोट्स बना रहे हो, ठीक है, एसेंशियली. सो उस टाइप के रिसर्च पेपर्स में यार मजा नहीं आता, कि लाइक अगेन वही वाला है ना कि सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं मिलता है, फुलफिलमेंट नहीं होती उस टाइप के रिसर्च पेपर से. तो
Right.
अगर इफ यू गो इनटू प्रोग्राम्स लाइक मायटैक्स एंड सर्न, तो वो तुम्हें उठा ही रहे हैं नोवेल आइडियाज पे काम करने के लिए, राइट, नए आइडियाज पे काम करने के लिए. सो दैट्स अनदर मेजर रीजन कि मैंने मायटैक्स पे अप्लाई किया. तो रिसर्च चल रहा था, थर्ड ईयर से मैं थोड़ा बहुत डीएसए स्टार्ट कर लिया, एंड हाँ, तो उसके बाद आई गॉट इनटू लिंक्डइन. तो वही वही पॉइंट है.
Got it.
मेरे को मेरा सिंपल फंड है कि सब करना है, ठीक है. अब मेरा लाइक सब उठा लो, ठीक है, ये मेरा सिंपल सा फंड है. अगर तुम्हारे पास ABCDE है तो पांचों उठा लो, ठीक है. एंड ऑन द वे अगर तुम्हें कहीं भी लगे कि यार डी एंड ई में नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, तो डी एंड ई टेम्परली ड्रॉप कर दो, ABC पे फोकस करो. ABC एक बार खत्म हो जाए, फिर डी एंड डी को वापस उठा लेना बाद में जाके किसी टाइम पे, ठीक है.
Right. Right. Amazing, especially when you told about said about how you just scraped all the resumes of top IIT students, and then went through the resume. And that was, I think, something which is very curious as a student, because no one does that. Like a normal student doesn't
Yeah.
do that. And I
Yeah.
think that shows how curious you are regarding what you are interested about. So
Mm.
like basically the final question related to research would be, um, like suppose I'm an amateur, I just got out of school, I do have some interest in particular subject, let's say science, let's say physics. And so how should he or she go about venturing into this research field, exploring things, like from your experience?
So in my case, what I've done is, um, okay, let's say I'll give an actionable plan. Okay, let's say that uh, you've just cleared college, not cleared college, sorry,
School.
you've just cleared high school, right? Huh?
Yeah.
And you're in the first year of your college. Let's say you're interested in quantum computing, okay, and you do a research paper in it. So how I've always done is that I've picked up a book on quantum computing. Now, this could differ from person to person. It's not always compulsory that you take a book. You could take a Coursera course. Like a lot of universities provide free subscriptions to Coursera. If you want to take up a Coursera course, you could go on YouTube, search a playlist that teaches you that. Um, Go to Spotify, take a podcast, take an Audible subscription, listen to it. There are a ton of ways you can learn about it. So, but I usually prefer books, right? Because a lot of people who are into studies read a lot of books, and so you get more genuine reviews about books. So, yeah, so take up a book that you feel is the authority in that field, but it should be beginner friendly enough. So for a beginner friendly book, I suggest that try to target books which are around 200 to 300 pages long. इस range में होना चाहिए. Otherwise, if it's less than 200, I feel that the information given is incomplete. It's not much. If it's more than 300, you'll never finish it. Okay, you'll just dump the book somewhere and you'll go. So I think 200 to 300 is like the sweet spot, right? And then find a book that fits that range, and make sure that it's a well respected, well reputed book, and that it has everything that you, and obviously you can't figure out if you don't know the subject whether it has everything in it or not. But then just go with the reviews, okay? Just go with the reviews and go with your gut feeling. Start the book, uh, read a few pages, and if you feel that okay, this is interesting and the way the person has explained it, I'm able to grasp things, right? So in that case, continue with the book. If you were to understand more about quantum computing from a theoretical and mathematical point of view, there's this book called David McMahon. It's a very good book. In fact, that's what I had quantum computing as an elective in my third semester, so third year, and then that was the book that we were following, and it's a great book. If you want, you can like, read that for quantum computing. Similarly, find a book that's an authority in your space, read it. If it's a 200 to 300 page book and you read, let's just say you read 10 pages a day, right? So you can
Right.
complete it in a month, right? Max to max a month.
Mm.
So you complete it in a month. You understand the entire subject. After that, you find out which professor in your university teaches that particular subject. Okay, it's again, this is also completely subjective to you. If you feel that there's no good professor or no professor at all who teaches that particular subject, you can always reach out to professors in other universities. So that's where you cold email people, you reach them out on LinkedIn, uh, you reach them out on any other platform. I'm not sure because I've only used LinkedIn and cold emails. So you reach out to these people. It could be IIT professors, it could be professors from the other reputed universities, it could be Jadavpur University professors, anybody, even international university professors also, anybody, right? And professors are always looking for students who can work on research work. So there's no shortage of research work out there. So you do that. if a professor likes your work, if he likes your understanding, and if he wants to give you a chance, they will. And then you work with them, you create a research paper. Yeah, I mean, after that, once you get a professor, the professor is like your mentor, and he'll guide you through everything. Okay, he'll guide you through everything. He'll tell you the format of it. He'll give you papers to learn more about the problem statement that you're working on, and he'll also tell you that how the language should be, everything. The professor will guide you after that. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Right. Got it. So overall, first get the first figure out what is interesting, what is excites you.
Mm.
Secondly, just start learning about it as much as you can, and then thirdly, just start reaching out to professors. Right? Like I remember
Yeah.
one of my juniors in DPS. He is, I think, currently in US. So he was when he was in 10th grade, he was really interested into the shapes of the objects. I don't know, he used to send me like the shapes of pebbles and stuff, and then he used to explain me the physics around behind it. And
Mm.
he was, at that time, he was DMing, cold emailing a lot of professors, especially in US and Europe. So
Mm.
he was like, and then I think he got one of his papers published as well. um,
Okay.
but that's from that point, like I was introduced to, okay, this is researching is also a field which
Mm.
a lot of us don't know about.
Yeah.
And that's the point where I was also looking for there's this DAD scholarship also, right? And then I came about
Yeah. It's Germany. Yeah.
yeah, my tax and a lot of these, but I never really focused specifically on a research thing. But let's see
Mm.
how it goes.
No, again, it's a completely personal preference. There are a
Right.
lot of like it's less. The number of people wanting to go into research is less,
Yeah.
mainly because um, a lot of them feel that it's not as rewarding.
Right.
See, it's the same thing. For example, if I were to tell you that um, you could do DSA CP and you could get like a 30, 40, 50 LPA package, and then you could start earning like as soon as you turn 22, right? So you're a
Right.
22-year-old guy who's earning 40, 50 LPA, and you're just fresh out of college, right? So that's what makes DSA and competitive programming lucrative. In case of research, it's more like a bachelor degree won't take you anywhere in research. You have to
Right.
at least have a master's if you want to
Masters. Right.
have some. Yeah. So you do bachelor's, and then you do a sort of if you want, you get some to get some, like if you take a drop year or you want to get some job experience, you do a job for a year, and then you again go somewhere to a great university. You spend 2 more years in a master's degree. After
Hmm.
that, if you want to go even further, do a PhD. That's another long process. And after that, when you get approached by companies, you will be paid in like you'll be paid a hell lot of money. But
Hmm.
then
Right.
the time taken to reach that point is a lot.
A
So
lot.
that's the reason that, yeah, it's the
Right.
same as engineers versus doctors. It's like uh,
Hmm.
at the beginning you'll be like, oh, like doctors are like, oh, I should have become an engineer. They're earning like
Hmm.
so early in their life, right? But
Right.
then when doctors start earning, and when doctors have that impact and respect, right?
Hmm.
So again, that's the thing.
True. 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 Right. I think enough of research talks, but like,
Yeah.
so right. Let's come to, like, you had lots of skills, right? You have, I don't know what from where to start. CB development, um, open source, a lot. So how did you start?
Yeah.
Like, I was going through your LinkedIn and then the experience section. You started off doing everything from first year, and then first sem, and then continued that motion, and I think that's when I was first introduced to your profile on the post which you had mentioned about what you did in the last 2 or 3 semesters. Your second year ended.
Okay, that was
Yeah,
like a year back, dude.
yeah, and you did a lot of things, and especially as an Indian college student, as they say, 75% attendance, um,
Yeah,
and managing studies. So, how did you go about with this entire thing?
yeah. I mean, as I told you, right? First 2 years of my entire journey was completely online, right? I think if it wouldn't have been online, I'm not sure if I would have been. I wouldn't have been able to do all that. Okay,
Right.
if it would have been offline, then when it's offline, the problem is, see, in case when I was in my home, right, my first 2 years, it was usually like I used to get up in the morning, sit in front of the laptop, go for breakfast, sit in front of the laptop, go for lunch, laptop, right? And then whenever I used to have classes, I just used to mute them, and they used to keep running in the background. Or uh, like I use Ubuntu. I'm not sure if you have this option in Windows, but then you can reduce the volume of certain applications, right? So I used to reduce the Google Chrome ka volume, and then बाकी किसी browser पे I used to study my stuff. So attendance के लिए I used to unmute and say present. Everyone does that, okay? Everyone does that.
Right, we all
Uh,
did.
yeah, and then background mein you work on your projects, you learn stuff. But when you're in college, it's like a very crucial part of your day is gone.
Right.
I think our college started at 8, and the last classes were up till 6. So it's like 8 to 6 is gone. It was a 10-minute walk back to our hostel. So you walk back to the hostel, and then it takes you at least an hour to sort of freshen up, and then yeah, then 7 o'clock you're in the mood to, okay, let's go and study now,
Mm.
right? But 7:30 is dinner time, and everybody comes to your room and they're like, chalo dinner karte, chalo dinner karte. So
Mm.
7. Okay, no, they usually used to go at 8:30, but then so I used to go at 8:30 at the very beginning of my college life, but then I slowly shifted to 7:30 so that I could sleep earlier, right, and I could wake up earlier because
Right.
so there's this concept called context switching. Okay, if you're doing one piece of work, you switch to something else, it takes at least 20 to 30 minutes to completely shift your attention to that new piece of work, right? So if you need to do these context switches very often, then
Mm.
you become less productive, right? So like if you divide 3 hours into 15-15-15 minute chunks with 5 minute breaks, then that's not productive. Okay, you
Right.
need to, for me, I need to have a continuous stretch of time available to me. So what I used to do was, I used to eat, I used to sleep off by 9 after talking to my parents, and then 6 hours of sleep. So I used to get up around 3 or 4 in the morning, right? And then you get around 4 to 5 hours in the morning, so
Right.
use that for your advantage. So that's what I did when I was in college. So yeah, as far your question goes, how did I manage? Uh, it was online, dude. Like I think I was lucky in that sense that it was online.
Definitely.
I was able to manage a lot of things, and even my fourth year is online. So yeah,
Right.
I
But
mean that's how I managed.
but the thing is, even after it was online, like you managed to just give time to each and everything and take all the things together. I think
It's not
that's
healthy.
commendable.
See, it's not
Definitely
healthy.
not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When I those 2 years, like even though like I was with my family, living in my house, I had very little interaction with my family. Okay, it's like only during dinner times I used to come out of my room, and we used to have like dinner together. We used to talk here and there. Rest of the times, it usually used to be like like very little interaction with my family for those 2 years, even though we were in the same house, right?
Right.
Um, so it's definitely not healthy. I was like jumping from meeting to meeting, meeting to meeting, and then projects in between, then meeting to meeting, and then applying everywhere. So if you want to see, again, there are people who are perfectly happy by just being an open source contributor, just being a researcher, or just being a competitive programmer, and that's fine. Like, I mean, I have extreme respect for people who are like satisfied with one stream of thought, but then for me it was always like कि यार ये होता तो अच्छा होता, यार ये होता तो अच्छा होता, यार ये होता. I'm greedy in that sense.
Right.
uh, so yeah, I just have to have everything. So that's why, that's the reason. Unhealthy, but unhealthy, but I do it. Yeah.
True, true, true.
See, the thing is, you'll realize when you. I think that's reason why if I were in someone's place, I would suggest getting a taste of real life experience as soon as possible into your college, right? So
Right.
if you can get an internship in the very first year of college, that's great. Go for it, right?
Right.
In fact, if you want, you could probably apply for DRDO and other government internships in your second year, I guess, first or second year. In fact, you could do it in your first year itself, but the probability of selected get less. But then you can always give it a
Right.
shot. Um, so as soon as you get one real life experience, you'll realize that what you're being taught versus what is really used out there, like there's a hell lot of a difference between those two.
True.
Okay, like what you're being taught is like the basic principles that resulted into what exists today, but you're not being taught what exists today, right?
Right.
For me
Right.
personally, whenever I've had an exam, it's I think this is a common trait among all engineering students. We read 2 days before the exam, right?
Right.
And like, just imagine if you can complete 6 months worth of syllabus in 2 days, then what exactly did they teach you those 6 months, right? They just taught you that it's like a daily soap serial sort of a thing where they take 2 days of content and they spread it across 6 months, right? It's
Right.
better that you just read it on your own, like if you
Hmm.
can. Again, I'm not denying the fact that there are students who find it difficult to understand particular concepts, so they might want the help of someone, and for them classes are like really beneficial. But
Right.
if you can understand it on your own, then understand it on your own. Like, don't waste your time if you can do it on your own. Yeah, that's the
True.
point.
Agree. Yeah. Like, um, I think a lot of hell lot of students are stuck in this this confusion. This they are still in
Mhm.
the ambiguity that whether they should do classes or they should just not do classes and work on themselves. And but when you go and ask this same question to a teacher, she'll
Mhm.
definitely motivate you to like come to classes and all, even though
Yeah.
they know that what the exact scenario is. It's
I
weird.
mean, no, it's like, see, in case of professors, right? In case of professors, um, like a lot of professors have real life experience.
Right.
Those professors who have, like, I've had professors who have had real life experience versus professors who have had teaching experience, right? So
Right.
there's a difference between that. If you
True.
have teaching experience, then you would emphasize on students attending your classes, which is,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because it is true that my friends who have attended classes, they do score more than me, but it's
Hmm.
usually a very negligible thing, right? For example, there was this concept which your professor might have taught in class, which they heard you didn't, and it comes as a 1 mark question.
Hmm.
So you get 18, they get 19, but I don't care about that extra 1 mark, dude. It's like,
Right.
that's fine. You can keep the extra 1 mark if I can save
Yeah.
6 months of my time, right? So
Hmm.
again, that's a completely separate topic. But teachers who have been into corporate and then they've joined back to teaching, I think they don't do this.
Hmm.
Um, because I've had my software engineering professor was someone who worked at a company, and then he came back to teaching, and he was very particular that if you don't attend my classes, I'll give you enough and ample time for your assignments, just submit it on time, and rest focus on DSA, focus on your skills, and baki class hota rahega. I'll tell you everything you need to do to score well in the exams, but focus on your skills first, right? So I've
Right.
had an ample number of professors who have been like this, as well as professors who have just have teaching experience. Because उसमें क्या होता है ना कि you complete BTech, then you go to masters, you do your PhD. So you're studying your entire life, and then you come back to teaching people. So
Hmm.
again, as I said, get a taste of corporate world as soon as you can to understand what is valuable, what's not valuable. So understand what the market needs right now.
Yep. Like, I remember my training and placement teacher telling us the same thing, that get an internship as soon as possible, because like
Yeah.
the world that you are, this environment that you are in currently, that's completely different from what you are being prepared for, like what you are
Mhm.
thinking to go forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
um about the skills and all, like, um currently I'm learning the front end thing. I did
Mhm.
complete the HTML and CSS, and then
Mhm.
currently learning JavaScript. And I find you doing both front and back end, I think in the first sem itself,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So how did you manage to complete and learn all of these? Because it takes time, right, to become well versed with both front end and back end. So how did
Yeah.
you manage to just learn? Because as of now we have so much resources. You can take up a
Mhm.
course, you can go to YouTube and learn by yourself, but
Yeah.
then this intrinsic motivation comes forward. So
I mean, so see, the thing here was, uh, as I said, I did a ton of hackathons, helped a lot, but yeah, in like for what you're asking, um, it took me a lot of time to develop my basic understanding of web development. Like it took me a lot of time, but
hmm,
then after that, I've had this framework that I use. So whenever I want to learn something, uh, it shouldn't take me more than 2 days. Okay, so that's my goal, right?
okay,
And it's like those 2 days can be anything. Okay, it doesn't matter. For example, I'll give an example. Let's say I have a friend who's been studying something since 1 month. Okay, and uh, I come up, and so we both challenge each other.
right,
Let's study this topic and let's come in like 2 months and we'll see who's better, right? So so he'll study for those entire 2 months, right? So for the first 1 month he's studying. But the truth is that the human mind won't be motivated for like every day. Okay, it's
hmm,
not possible for you to be motivated every day.
right,
So I'll study for those 2 days when I feel the most motivated, right? And the pattern is
hmm,
something like this. Let's, for example, consider a programming language like Golang. Okay.
hmm,
Um, so if I'm considered a programming language like Golang, what I'll do is that first day I'll try to just skim through every resource that's available on Golang, right? Most of the prominent resources. So I'll first of all is the documentation for that particular framework or language. So I'll go through the Golang documentation, which is very good, by the way. If you want, you can go through that. That's more than enough in for anyone. Go through
right,
the entire documentation, read it. If you see there are a few code snippets, try to implement those code snippets. If you feel that there's a YouTube video, like for example, I love Free Code Camp. They have like the
hmm,
best tutorials. So
yep,
I usually go through those. But Free Code Camp tutorials could be anywhere between 3 hours to I think the longest video they have is on C++. That's 31 hours. Okay.
right,
Um, so yeah, another thing is that learn to watch videos in 2x, right? I think that's a very beneficial skill. Whenever
Hmm.
I watch a video, it's always in 2x. And so if it's a 31-hour video, you can complete it in 15 hours, right?
Right.
15 to 16 hours. So I still remember I had to learn Solidity for a project. So Solidity is used for creating smart contracts. So I think it was a 16-hour course. I watched it in 2x, completed it in 8 hours in one sitting, right? So you see that is tough. Okay, you need to sit down and you
Right.
need to like make this a point that you don't get up for the next 8 hours. Okay, that is difficult, and that's why I was saying that you can't do it every single day. Okay, even I can't do it every single day. It's when you feel like, okay, आज तो करना ही पड़ेगा, this is really important for me. You'll sit down, do it at 2x, don't get up for 8 hours, watch the entire thing, right? And once you do that, so this is day one. Okay, day one
Hmm.
is everything about gathering context about that language, gathering the basics and fundamentals, right? If you have experience with any programming language, any other programming language becomes easier because the basic constructs are usually the
Hmm.
same: if loop,
Yeah.
if else, for loop, while loop, etc. Right? Um, then what you do the second day, what I do is that I go on YouTube and I search for projects related to that particular short project, small projects related to that particular concept or that particular framework, right? And I sort of create 10 to 15 projects, small projects on that particular day itself. Okay, so you just sit, uh, pick up a playlist. Okay, there are multiple playlists you'll get. For example, again, Golang example later. Go and search for short, simple Golang projects for beginners, right? And you'll get like a list of 50 projects. Okay, choose whichever project you like, whichever interests you, and then implement that. Implement that. Matlab ki, look at the video, see how he's thinking, because they'll be voicing their thoughts.
Hmm.
Understand how he's thinking about the entire system, then see how he's coding, and then just take that code, write it down, just follow what he is doing, right? You get the same thing up and running that he did, right? And now try to change what you created in minor ways. Okay, so
Okay.
let's say that he was using JWT for authentication. You go ahead and try to integrate something else, try OAuth, maybe try something else for authentication, right? So add your own personal touch to it, just to make sure that you understand that how the project is working, right?
Hmm.
And that's it. That's all you need. Like, number one, take the context. First day, context, learn about the language. Second day, implement the language. Third day, you can go ahead and code anything you want. Like, that's how I've learned. Like Golang, Rust, most of the major programming languages. That's how I've learned. It
Crazy.
works.
Like
It works.
crazy, crazy. Like don't
Okay,
you
again,
forget, like, because you're learning one day and then implementing and
yeah,
third day, and suppose if
yeah.
you lose that motion like after 3 4
Mhm.
days, then don't
Mhm.
you start forgetting those things?
Okay, so it's usually like I do it when I have a big project in hand. For example, let's say
Yeah.
that I'm doing a freelance project, okay, and then the freelance project needs me to use Golang. Okay, so and but I don't know how Golang works. So what I
Right.
do is that I take Golang, I learn it in 2 days, right, and then I start implementing it on the project. So now the project is going to take a while to complete, right? The project
Hmm.
might take you a week or 2 weeks to complete, but then you're in touch with Golang for those, for that 1 week or 2 weeks, right? And that would usually be more than enough for you to understand the entire language and not, sort of forget it in the future. So I usually,
Right.
whenever I learn something, I learn it in conjunction to a particular project. But over time, as you sort of get used to grasping things more quickly, then you'll be comfortable with just 2 days. Like once you get used to the fast process of learning it, because again, it's important to understand that only 20%, 80-20 rule, right? Only
Right.
20% of the language is used 80% of the time. So
Hmm.
80% of the language you'll never have to touch it, right? So there's no point learning everything about a language and then going for implementation. Learn the
Right.
most important part, implement it. Things that you feel are required, you learn it as you go.
Okay. So
Divide things into two parts. Okay,
right.
divide it into divided into tools and divided into paradigms. Okay, so if I talk about tools, so C++ is a tool, Python is a tool, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are separate tools, right? Front end is a paradigm. Okay, it's a domain, it's a specific domain. Now
Yeah.
multiple tools are used to work on a particular domain, right? So you have multiple tools that come together to form front end development, correct? So now it's important that you have an overview of the entire front end ecosystem. Okay,
Hmm.
so you need to understand that front end के लिए currently what is being used, ठीक है, and its MERN stack. As you said, JavaScript is very necessary for front end because
Yeah.
currently no one develops sites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, like static sites के लिए they do use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and उसमें JavaScript has like a very small portion. But then
Hmm.
in any case where you want interactive, like
Hmm.
interactive sites with animations and databases and everything,
Responsiveness. Hmm.
yeah, so you have to know JavaScript for that.
Right.
uh, and yeah, responsiveness, you don't need JavaScript, Bootstrap
Hmm.
does it really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but then if you want like a dynamic website which is like optimized and everything, then you need React JS, right? And React is completely JavaScript, it's just JavaScript.
Okay.
So you do a majority of it, for example, front end based frameworks and back end, both of them are based on Node.js based frameworks, right? So having Node.js has like multiple tools. So Node.js is this platform, and some of the tools are used for front end development, some of the tools are used for back end development. Might want to like check it out. But yeah,
Right.
before you start any paradigm, just try to have a roadmap or a sort of entire picture about what are the current frameworks that are being used in the market and what are the frameworks that are going to come up in the next 5 years in the market, and try to target those frameworks, right?
Got it.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Understood. Like it.
you will get there gradually, right?
Hmm.
It's a gradual process.
Yep.
Like you can learn a language in 2 days, but then there are a lot of implementation level nuances that comes with the experience. For example, uh, like a beginner would probably use an if else statement. A
Hmm.
person who is like really experienced would go for the ternary operator, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
both of those things are same, but syntactically and nuance wise, the way you write that code, that it's possible that the ternary one is faster, or like it depends. But then again, the person who has previous experience would know that what works better and what doesn't. So yeah, that's
True.
something
True.
that is going to come with time. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
But you can get
And
started in 2 days. That's the point. You can get
yeah,
started in 2 days. Yeah.
definitely got the point. And
Yeah.
lastly, related to skills, like after you get knowledge of so much things, don't you feel so overwhelmed? Like, okay, कहीं मैं भूल तो नहीं जाऊँगा, this type of thing, or okay, so much things to remember in my head, like that.
Uh, no, bro. Like it's, see, languages are something that you need to remember. You don't really have a choice there. Python, C, C++, Rust, Golang, Solidity. These are some of the languages that you need to know, right? Just to documentation, but it's not an interview, right? So,
Right.
uh, any point in development. So yeah, see, the documentation is your best friend. Okay, like I must have used Material UI and other such libraries n number of times, right? But I still don't remember what are the properties and how exactly to access them. Like I don't even know like the command for like how to create a React project. It's npx create React app, and then you have the React project name. But it took me like a long time to memorize this command, right? After
Hmm.
I've like since I've created a lot of React projects now I remember the command by heart. But then it's not something that you do with the sole purpose of learning the commands, right? It's you always have access to documentation. Any doubt, Stack Overflow, ChatGPT documentation. Okay,
Hmm.
you as a programmer, your job is to figure out how to get things to work together and come together. It's not your job to understand how something works like internally if you don't want to, right? I don't care how Django works internally because that's not what my purpose is, right? My project
Yeah.
has a very specific set of goals, and I'll choose any framework, any tool that abstracts out the unnecessary details that I need to understand in order to create that particular product or service. And that's the entire point of having a framework, right? If you had to memorize it, then there's no point of having it in the first place. That's why
Right.
documentation is great. So, yeah. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And taking forward that skills thing, nowadays what we
Mhm.
are finding on LinkedIn is either people are starting off with 100 days of code, or they are like continuously posting and updating about what they are learning, what projects they have
Mhm.
built and stuff. So,
Mhm.
and contrary to that, here comes your profile where you just don't post anything much,
Yeah.
but just
Mhm.
about good experiences. So,
Yeah.
what would you suggest, or what point of view do you have regarding the people who does like keep posting about this stuff?
See, again, I would like two very different points on this. It's like um, it's a people thing, as in it's based on individual preferences. But
Right.
um, like I have this fundamental concept that the most valuable position that any one of us has is time, and
Right.
that I've currently I have I don't know, I'll have to check, but I have like 20K plus connections on LinkedIn currently. So
24,700 something.
okay, okay. So
I checked it.
so so that's the thing is every time I post, right, so that gets pushed to my entire network, right? So see, I'm doing new things every day, right? I'm learning something new every day. So if I post every day, it's sort of a waste of their time, right? Like their feed gets
Hmm.
cluttered with all this bekarka stuff that I'm doing, and it's not like I'm doing world changing stuff every day. It could be like I just learned how to like fetch JSON from a database. Like that could
Hmm.
be something. Like why do they care? Like they don't care about that, right? That's
Right.
something that's my personal learning. So that's point number one. I feel it's not something that I would want to see on my feed, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because I don't feel that it adds value, and the time that I invest in reading that feed is just wasted. Like I don't want to see it, okay?
Hmm.
I want things which sort of, let's just say that you have done a lot of things over a span of like a long time, and then you sort of condense it into one single post and then you provide it to people, okay?
Hmm.
I feel
Right.
like that is actual value, okay? Because in that case you're not telling them what you're doing every day, you're not bombarding them with posts, but then
Hmm.
you've achieved something significant and you tell them that how you achieved it, right? I think that is the highest level of value you can provide on LinkedIn, okay?
Hmm.
Like that's a very good level of value. So
Right.
that's point number one. Point number two is I've never been a fan of like sort of showcasing everything in public.
Hmm. Build in
And
public type.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, see, again, don't get me wrong. I do want a personal audience. वो सब part, that's a different thing, okay?
Hmm.
But I feel कि पहले skills develop कर लेते, फिर audience develop हो जाएगी अपने आप, है ना? So
Hmm.
uh, right now, my entire focus while I'm in college and while I'll be working is on my skills. बाकी यार सी द थिंग इज कि व्हेन पीपल सी वैल्यू इन यू, ऑडियंस अपने आप ग्रो हो जाएगी, ठीक है? तो
Hmm.
उसका मेरे को टेंशन नहीं है. बट देन आई सी अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल लाइक जिन लोगों ने एक इंटर्नशिप की है या एक कोर्स किया है, एंड देन दे कम अप एंड देन दे लाइक बहुत बड़े बड़े पोस्ट करते हैं वो लोग, एंड दे लाइक ये कर लो वो कर लो, मोटिवेट करने की कोशिश. आई एम लाइक डूड, पहले मतलब खुद कुछ कर लेते हैं उसके बाद करते हैं ये सब, है ना? सो
Hmm.
दैट्स द पॉइंट. आई डोंट वांट टू प्रीच समथिंग जब तक मैंने खुद लाइक ढंग से अचीव नहीं किया चीजें. एंड the way I've leveled up in life is by going underground. ठीक है तो it's
Hmm.
completely opposite. It's like
Right.
जब लोगों को कुछ अचीव करना होता है दे वो सोशल मीडिया पे डालते हैं दे लाइक हर
Hmm.
रोज डालते हैं 100 days है. आई गिव एन एग्जांपल ठीक है बहुत शॉर्ट एग्जांपल है. लेट्स से कि कोई है जो बॉडी बिल्डिंग चैलेंज कर रहा है ठीक है
Hmm. Hmm.
100 days का बॉडी बिल्डिंग चैलेंज कर रहा है एंड सो व्हाट समवन एल्स वुड डू वुड बी कि वो सोशल मीडिया पे जाएंगे एंड हर दिन का फोटो भेजते रहेंगे. ठीक है हर
Hmm.
दिन का फोटो
Yes.
भेजते रहेंगे. ठीक है लाइक डेली ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फोटो सॉर्ट ऑफ भेजते रहेंगे एंड लास्ट में उन सबको कंबाइन करके एक रील बना के वो लोग डाल देंगे. ठीक है सो दिस इज माई ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन वीडियो. ठीक है
Ah.
बट आई थिंक पीपल गेट मोर इम्प्रेस्ड व्हेन यू शॉक देम. तो उनको ऐसे
Hmm. Right.
it's better that you it's better that you disappear for 100 days and
Hmm.
then you come up and then you are like कि before after like before 100 days after 100 days. ठीक है I think
Hmm.
shocking people is a better way to impress them than showing them gradual progress. So
True.
that's the point. मैं underground चला जाता हूँ. I don't show people.
Great. Like, absolutely love that point of view because nowadays, this generation, especially, we all are sucked into knowing someone else's, like what someone is doing, getting into their life, especially this Instagram, whatever. But one question is that don't you feel that um, you might lose getting valuable connections because what I've seen and what I've felt personally, I found that when you are posting your stuff, when you are posting what you're doing, and if they are valuable, if they are something good, then people would definitely approach you. So don't you feel that this perspective, this point could be missing if you just go underground and then do your stuff?
Okay, look. So the thing is, right? So see, you have
Hmm.
your profile, correct? So for me, uh, I want tech internships, right? Uh, मेरा simple सा फंडा है if there is an easy thing to do, there's a hard thing to do. You pick up the hard thing first. Easy thing हो जाएगा. ठीक है.
Hmm. Right.
Easy thing ऐसा अपने आप हो जाएगा. So even I've wanted to become a content writer and I've wanted to become someone who is like really knowledgeable in the tech space. ठीक है जिसमें मतलब tech I'm not saying I am but then uh, tons of things to learn more but then tech वाले space में एक अच्छा grasp चाहिए था मेरे को. ठीक है which one is harder? Tech is
Tech is
harder.
definitely
अगर मेरे
harder.
को
Hmm.
हाँ see so I'm in no way saying कि content writing easy है
Hmm.
consistency चाहिए होती है
Hmm.
उसमें बहुत
Yeah.
ज्यादा.
Right.
But then I feel कि uh, अगर अगर मैं अपने पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखूं आई फील कि मेरी इंग्लिश अच्छी है आई फील मेरी राइटिंग स्टाइल अच्छी है सो एट लेट्स से कि इफ टुडे आई हैड टू डिसाइड बिटवीन बिकमिंग अ कंटेंट राइटर एंड बिटवीन बिकमिंग लाइक समवन हु इज गुड एट टेक देन मेरे दिमाग में ये क्वेश्चन आएगा कि ऐसा क्या चीज है जो मैं सबसे ज्यादा जल्दी स्टार्ट कर सकता हूँ.
Hmm.
ठीक है
Right.
आई जस्ट कंक्लूड वेरी फर्स्ट द
Hmm.
फैक्ट
Hmm.
कि it depending on the person like different things could be hard and different things would be easy for a
Hmm.
person who feels कि he is not that confident in English उसके लिए content writing may be more difficult.
Hmm.
Let's say कि कोई एक ऐसा बंदा है जिसने अपना let's say there's an experienced IT professional जो कि अभी अपना audience grow करना चाहता है तो for him content writing would be difficult. ठीक है तो
Right.
totally depends on you. But then at that point in time when I had to choose मेरा simple सा फंडा था कि content writing मैं आज शुरू कर सकता हूँ. Tech पे knowledge is something which will take me a while to gain. So I started with that and uh, yeah I mean see connection wise like people reach out to me like people reach out to me saying ki we have this job opening we have this open roles would you like to come in right so if you're free
Right.
would you like to come in so that is something जो तुमने एक बार ऑर्गेनिकली नेटवर्क बना ली इट्स नॉट लाइक आई एम कंप्लीटली इनएक्टिव आई डू पोस्ट बट एज आई
Yeah.
सेड मैं काफी स्पेस करके पोस्ट करता हूँ एंड आई मेक श्योर कि जो भी पोस्ट कर रहा हूँ इट हैज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ वैल्यू टू माय
Hmm.
कनेक्शंस ऑन लिंक्डइन सो
Right.
yeah I mean you could post valuable content every 3 days I mean I'm not
Hmm.
denying the
Hmm.
fact but then the amount of time that goes into creating one such post would be
Yes.
inhibitory to your actual thing. तो अगर मेरे को हर 3 दिन में एक पोस्ट करना होता, I had to research a lot, एंड उस चक्कर में मेरा जो मेन फोकस है टेक के साइड में, उस पर मैं ज्यादा फोकस नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. एवरी सेकंड आई गिव टू कंटेंट राइटिंग इज एवरी सेकंड आई टेक अवे फ्रॉम टेक, राइट?
Hmm. True. Great point of view. Again. So like, I messaged you on the day when I saw your post that you said ki left my link, completed my LinkedIn internship, now going to Canada. So
Yeah.
I was really
Yeah.
intrigued with that. And then when I showed that same post to my one of my friend, he was like, "Bhai, kya sahi cheez hai na? It's so cool. Like you worked at LinkedIn and then you're posting on LinkedIn. It's so cool."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. See, LinkedIn has been my. I've loved LinkedIn because जब मेरे पास लाइक कुछ नहीं था ना, व्हेन लाइक क्लास 12 के बाद you literally have nothing. If you
right.
you have no network, you have no people you can look up to as soon as you complete class 12 and you join a like private university.
Yeah.
बहुत ही कम लोग होते हैं जिनसे you could gain value and gain insights. So everything everything that I have, my network, everything is via LinkedIn. So getting a chance to work at the company जहाँ पे मेरे पास like 3 साल से मैं LinkedIn use करते हुए आया हूँ, I
Hmm.
got to get inside LinkedIn and like I've been able to touch the code there. I think मतलब मेरे लिए तो काफी मतलब cool shit था वो. हाँ.
Right.
मतलब
Like how did that come about कि internship मिल गया LinkedIn पे? Because it's very rare, no? Because mo- at the most people get internship at Microsoft or Amazon. They share about that and they're cool.
yeah.
But LinkedIn पे internship में ना it's very rare and people
I
don't
mean,
post
so the
about that,
thing
I
is
think.
कि हमारे year में so LinkedIn goes to like very selected universities, um, and बाकी universities के लिए they just float their off campus form. ठीक है. So
Right.
उन लोगों ने last year, I don't think last year, हाँ दिस टाइम लाइक हमारा जो बैच था, दे डिड नॉट विजिट एनी कंपनीज, राइट? किसी भी कंपनी को उन्होंने, क्या बोल रहा हूँ, किसी भी यूनिवर्सिटी को उन्होंने
Colleges.
विजिट नहीं किया
Hmm.
था. हाँ.
Hmm.
कॉलेज को दे हैडंट विजिटेड. एंड उन लोगों ने एक फॉर्म फ्लोट किया था, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट फॉर्म फ्लोट किया था, एंड वी वर सपोज टू फिल दैट अप. तो एस डी रोल्स थे, एस आर ई रोल्स थे, मशीन लर्निंग के रोल्स थे. एम एल इंटर्न वाली फॉर्म मेरे को दिखी नहीं. एस डी एंड एस आर ई की थी. एस आर ई का मेरे एक दोस्त ने भरा एंड एस डी का मैंने भरा था. तो आई फिल्ड आउट द फॉर्म. ऑनलाइन असेसमेंट राउंड हुआ तब, मतलब आई वॉज डूइंग डी एस ए रेगुलरली तब तक. थर्ड ईयर के स्टार्टिंग से मैं डी एस ए रेगुलरली कर रहा हूँ. इवन अभी तक मैं रेगुलर हूँ उस पर. तो लीड कोड पे कर रहा हूँ मैं करेंटली. एंड सो आई वाज एबल टू सॉल्व लाइक काफ़ी जल्दी वो क्वेश्चंस. सो उसके बाद एक टेक इंटरव्यू हुआ. तो टेक इंटरव्यू में दे गेव 2 क्वेश्चंस. एक ट्री पे था, एक ग्राफ्स एंड लिंक लिस्ट का एक वियर्ड कॉम्बिनेशन था थोड़ा सा. तो वो था. सो दे हैड लाइक 1.5 आवर्स फॉर द इंटरव्यू, और 20 मिनट्स में वो 2 क्वेश्चंस हो गए. तो दैट वाज लाइक गुड. एंड देन वो क्लियर हो गया. देन यू हैड द एच आर राउंड. एच आर राउंड में तो मतलब टचवुड जो भी आए थे वो बहुत ही चिल थे. तो हम लोग ऐसी लाइफ की बातें कर रहे थे एंड क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं. आई मीन ही डिड आस्क अबाउट थिंग्स लाइक फ्यूचर एम्बिशंस क्या है, पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस क्या रहा है, वो सब जो नॉर्मल होता है एचआर इंटरव्यू में.
Hmm.
एंड बस उसके बाद वी गॉट सिलेक्टेड. आई मीन दे feel they probably give a they probably also give importance to your LinkedIn profile and तुम LinkedIn पे कितना active हो देते
Hmm.
हैं क्या. I'm not sure but probably. But then
Hmm.
बाकी से tech rounds and वो सब since I was like in touch with DSA हो गया था. And मैंने I told you right, मैंने first year में CP कर रखी
Hmm.
थी तो
Hmm.
foundation था थोड़ा बहुत.
Okay. So all of those things helped at the end.
Yeah, I mean that's why I called like LinkedIn की जो हमारी internship की team है ना, like I call them a secret society because किसी को नहीं पता किसको LinkedIn ने कहाँ से कब उठाया है. but then
Okay.
all of them are really good. All of them are
Right.
really good. 30 people, and like each and every one of them is great.
Oh, so was it on campus or online, remote, the internship?
ऑन साइट थी, बैंगलोर गया था मैं, सो
Okay.
3 months we were in Bangalore, and like accommodation, like LinkedIn is great, वो सब कुछ वो देते हैं, ठीक है,
Hmm.
everything. एंड 3 months एक 5 स्टार होटल में रह के वहाँ से खाना वाना यार, लिंक्डइन में ऑफिस में जो खाना होता है लिंक्डइन पे ऑफिस का खाना इज वेरी गुड यार.
Right.
सो दैट्स देयर. एंड या, सो 3 months वहाँ पे मस्त काम करके
Hmm.
बहुत कुछ सीखा वहाँ पे तो. एंड वहाँ से काम खत्म करके, so 28th को my internship got over, and 29th को I was supposed to join for my tech. So 28th को I
Oh
left.
my God.
Yeah, 28th को like I gave back all the company property and then submit करके सब कुछ. उस दिन 2 बजे I left. So 11 a.m. I left LinkedIn, 2 p.m. I left for the airport. um, रात की 9 बजे की फ्लाइट थी from Bangalore to Delhi, and then landed in Delhi around 12:05, 12:10, फिर Delhi to Toronto.
Oh, so it just like it was this completed, this my like started, like no.
Yeah, मतलब
Right.
हाँ.
Got it. And just out of normal curiosity, how was
Mhm.
the stipend? What's this like
So LinkedIn gives you 80K, 80K की stipend थी per month.
per month?
और yeah, per month. And उसके बाद I think they've doubled it. Last time कम था, इस बार they've made it 80K.
Okay.
बाकी accommodation is from the company. Everything is from the company.
Oh,
हाँ,
nice.
मतलब वो 80K का तुम्हें ऐसा कोई
Hmm.
ये you'll never get an opportunity where you have to like spend that 80K.
Hmm.
So, cool stuff.
बहुत सही है, बहुत सही. Nice.
हाँ,
Um,
great
right.
company.
Like currently you have so large, so huge amount of following. How did you
Mhm.
start with just getting followers or connecting with people, even with
Yeah,
very less content to being posted?
सी सो द थिंग इज कि मेरे को जिस इंसान में वैल्यू दिखता है मैं कनेक्शन रिक्वेस्ट भेज देता हूँ, ठीक है.
Hmm.
अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर लाइक कि इसमें दो चीज़ है. एक चीज़ है कि बहुत सारे लोग आर चूजी अबाउट whom they allow to connect with themselves, and I think that's fine. मतलब that allows you to create a very good network of
Hmm.
valuable individuals. लेकिन मेरा ऐसा सीन
Right.
है कि if someone wants to ask me something, ठीक है, they'll have to connect with me, ठीक है. And
Hmm.
अगर at any point in time like, so anybody who reaches out to me on LinkedIn मैं reply करता हूँ उनको, ठीक है. Anybody who messages me on LinkedIn. So वही सीन है कि whenever someone sends me a connection request, I just assume कि there might be something which I can help them with. So I accept, I think, every connection request unless and until अकाउंट बहुत ही नया है एंड यू हैवंट पुट अ डीपी इन योर अकाउंट, ठीक है.
Hmm.
अगर मतलब बहुत ही सस्पिशियस सा
Suspicious
स्पैम
है.
अकाउंट लग रहा है, हाँ,
Hmm.
तो उस केस में आई डोंट. बट देन बाकी केसेस में मैं एक्सेप्ट कर लेता हूँ कनेक्शन रिक्वेस्ट. एंड जिस भी फील्ड में मेरे को एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इंटरेस्ट रहता है, मैं उस फील्ड में लोगों को ढूंढ के आई सेंड देम रिक्वेस्ट एज वेल, ठीक है. एंड देन बाकी पोस्ट के थ्रू भी बहुत सारा आता है. मतलब I post less, but whenever I post, there's like a spike in follower count. So I remember, मतलब last post जो मैंने किया था, so you get anywhere between 200 to 600 new followers a day, like once you post.
Oh
ठीक है,
my
मतलब
God.
एक बार तुमने post कर दिया ना, you get a ton of followers, and that's the reason, right? That's the point of having um, 2 points. या तो तुम वैल्यूएबल पोस्ट करो, तो you'll
Hmm.
have like 2-3 महीने में एक बार you'll have these follower spikes, ठीक है.
Hmm.
या
Right.
फिर तुम हर रोज पोस्ट करो, तो
Hmm.
हर रोज पोस्ट करने से you'll have like a steady stream of followers,
Okay.
not spikes. But then मैं it's good to have 24K followers, मतलब मेरे को तो अच्छा लगता है, but then it's not something जिसको like ऐसे specifically grow करने में मैं focus कर रहा हूँ अभी.
Hmm.
So कनेक्शन बस आ रहा है, मेरे को जो पसंद आते हैं लोग मैं उनको भेजता रहता हूँ, बातें होती रहती है, एंड वैसे करते करते 24 तक पहुंचाओ, एंड देन एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट इन टाइम इफ आई फील कि फ्यूचर में जो आई एम प्रिटी श्योर होगा, आई वुड वांट टू क्रिएट अ पर्सनल ऑडियंस आउट ऑफ इट, बट
Hmm.
देन तब का तब देखेंगे. बट अभी तो ऐसा कोई टारगेट नहीं है मेरा कि इतने फॉलोअर्स आने चाहिए रोज, नहीं.
Right. Yeah. Having good LinkedIn connections and followers is, I think, one of the best leverage you can have in your like
Correct.
entire career, because
True.
lot of opportunities when it comes to LinkedIn if you use it properly.
Yeah, I don't have like मेरा ऐसा कोई resume website नहीं है मेरा. Whenever
Hmm.
someone meets me and they're like, is there a link like using which I can know you, मैं बस LinkedIn भेज देता हूँ. I'm like, go ahead, see it, ठीक है.
Hmm.
And they see it's no point in hiding the fact that it's impressive. So
Hmm.
when you send your LinkedIn profile to somebody, they are impressed. They're like genuinely impressed, and they just कितना टाइम लगा, आई थिंक 3.2 years के आसपास हो गया है LinkedIn पे since I've been here, right? So
Hmm.
again, anything that displays consistency over time is valued by people. Anything
Right.
that displays consistency is valued. So I think LinkedIn shows consistency, lead code shows consistency, bodybuilding shows consistency, your level of knowledge in something shows consistency. So
Right.
run behind things which show consistency. The point.
Hmm. And coming to like the last part, which was you starting various organizations, one of which was I think Clove Buddies,
Clover
um,
buddies, yeah.
Clover
Yeah.
Buddies, and
Yeah.
so I think that was a very common idea, which was to just provide services and all. But
Yeah.
then I definitely feel that you must have leveraged that, having an organization, into connecting with good peoples, and then working with themselves with them.
Yeah.
So how was that?
See, the thing is कि in whichever college you are, as you progress around third year, fourth year में आपके जो seniors होंगे, ठीक है, your seniors would already know a ton of people, ठीक है.
Hmm.
Like it's just how the game works, ठीक है. If you're a senior, if you're in fourth year, you probably know people, ठीक है. You have to know people
Right.
क्योंकि अगले साल placement है, and you must have met up with a lot of people, talked to a lot of people. I think number one is leverage your seniors.
Yeah.
So if you're a junior and you feel कि uh, इस पर्टिकुलर चीज के लिए मैं किसके पास जा सकता हूँ, इट्स यूजली अ गुड आइडिया टू गो टू योर सीनियर फर्स्ट, ठीक है. दे वुड बी एबल टू टेल यू मोर लाइक बेटर कि किसके साथ बात कर सकता है, कहाँ जा सकता है, क्या कर सकता है, ठीक है. दैट्स पॉइंट नंबर वन. पॉइंट नंबर टू इज कि स्टार्टिंग में वी यूज टू वर्क फॉर फ्री. सो ये क्लोवर बडीज का बात नहीं है. इनफैक्ट मैंने बताया था दैट वी यूज टू वर्क फॉर एनजीओस, उनके लिए हम लोग फ्री
Hmm.
वेबसाइट बना देते हैं.
Right.
So if you want to um so I have this concept कि like there are two types of environments, ठीक है. एक environment है sandbox environment and एक होता है actual environment, production environment, ठीक है. Sandbox environment is where you can make mistakes, you can learn, and everything's fine in a sandbox environment. So
Hmm.
college is a sandbox environment, ठीक है. And then college के अंदर भी I feel कि the best way you can learn things and still gain real life experience without being subject to the harshness of the corporate world is by working for free, ठीक है. तुम किसी
Hmm.
इंसान के पास जाओ, यू गो एंड टेल देम कि यू नो व्हाट, ये मेरा स्किल है, ये मेरा बैकग्राउंड, ये मेरा पोर्टफोलियो है, आई वांट टू क्रिएट दिस थिंग फॉर यू एंड आई डू इट फॉर यू completely for free. You don't have to pay me anything, but if this works for you, something from you. Something matlab ki it doesn't have to be money. It could be
Hmm.
something as simple as a LinkedIn पे endorsement, LinkedIn recommendation. It could be a letter of
Right.
recommendation, things like that. So uh, obviously, if you compare it with money, it's nothing, right? It's
Hmm.
not something that's too difficult. So you go to that person, you work for them for free, okay? You get experience, you get the certificates that you needed, okay? And then you leverage that to get something that's paid, okay? And like that's
Hmm.
the sort of theory of leverage. Ki work for someone for free, get initial experience, build your initial portfolio. Once you have done that, try to target opportunities which are bigger than the opportunity that you did last. ठीक है,
Hmm.
बिकॉज मैंने ऐसा बहुत बार नोटिस किया कि पीपल गेट स्टक इन दैट सेम सर्कल. दे आर लाइक ठीक है, मैं एनजीओ के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ, करते रहता हूँ, या फिर मैं फ्रीलांसर्स के लिए मैं फ्रीलांसिंग कर रहा हूँ, करते रहता हूँ. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट.
Hmm.
इट्स लाइक तुमने एनजीओ के लिए काम किया है, यू बिकम कंफर्टेबल विद इट, बोर हो चुके हो, टारगेट द नेक्स्ट बिग थिंग. ठीक है, so that's how you amplify it. Leverage your previous experience to get the experience, get the next larger experience, right? And that's like a Fibonacci sequence. It's like पहला तुमने वन किया, फिर वन किया, फिर तुम वन एंड वन को लेवरेज करके तुम टू मिलता है, फिर टू वन को लेवरेज करके थ्री मिलता है, फिर थ्री टू को
Hmm.
लेवरेज करके फाइव मिलता है. इट्स एक्चुअली एक्सपोनेंशियल इफ यू लुक एट इट, राइट? इट्स
Right.
एक्सपोनेंशियल.
Right.
So that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And I think what I can relate from it is I find few of my people were like stuck in this loop. They are freelancers. They they are stuck in this loop of working as a freelancer. They are not like कि अच्छा हो गया, let's try something else, let's upskill, let's explore
Yeah.
something else. So that is something which I need all of us have to just figure things out and try moving on to one thing from one thing to another as fast
Yeah.
as
I
you
mean,
can.
see, freelancing is a great idea. Okay, because
Yeah.
I feel freelancing is a great idea because of the fact that you're not stuck with one particular project. So it might be possible that one client comes in, he has a data science project, another one comes in, he has a web development project. It becomes boring and it becomes stagnant when you start taking projects from the same field.
Hmm.
So, but if you can just make sure कि जो clients उठा रहे हो, they're like from different domains. Some are from AI, ML, some are from data science, some are from blockchain. Then you can go ahead and you can earn money while experimenting and learning stuff. Okay, that's a plus point. But again, once you have touched every domain in freelancing, उसके बाद it again becomes stagnant. So, but yeah, freelancing starting के लिए it's a very good thing. Like for about a year, you can do freelancing and you can understand all those domains if you want.
True. And yeah, finally we are at the end of this session. Last question. If you were to start all over again from the first day itself, what
Mm-hmm.
would you do and what you wouldn't do to get ahead of what you where you are currently? It's a very broad question, but like just answer whatever you can.
I mean, it's a tough question because I feel that at every point, I think it was a good decision that I took.
Yeah, personally I
Um,
also felt that like you have
yeah.
maxed out your potential of a college
See,
life.
I would say, uh, yeah, I wouldn't have joined six societies. Okay, I think that was a huge waste of time. Um, then I would have selected just two societies at max, right? I think I stuck to societies for a long time, but again, I don't feel it was a complete waste because on societies ke through I got to know people who are currently like really good friends of mine and they're really good people like मतलब skill wise भी and ऐसे in general भी. ठीक है, so societies help you explore your college more. ठीक है, and since हमारा ऑनलाइन था एंड वी डिडंट हैव मच इंटरेक्शन, इट वाज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर मी टू जॉइन सोसाइटीज टू गेट टू नो पीपल, ठीक है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दोज
Right.
इन माय ओन बैच. So ठीक है, that was one. I would have probably selected and joined two of the best societies अपने college में, ठीक है, two societies only. And then I think first year में even I did the mistake of taking classes too seriously. I feel कि I mean I did work ऐसे मतलब background में, but थोड़ा सा और शायद वहाँ पे ये कर सकते थे, चीज़ों को हटा सकते थे. ऑल्सो हाँ आई फील कि काफ़ी मैंने डिले किया इन गेटिंग इनटू ओपन सोर्स, ठीक है. मतलब आई थिंक आई कुड हैव एक्सपेरिमेंटेड अ बिट मोर विद ओपन सोर्स. दैट इज समथिंग जो मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ, बट देन आई फील मैं तब भी कर सकता था ओपन सोर्स में काफ़ी सारे एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन. एंड सीपी मैंने छोड़ दी थी, which I don't regret. I don't regret leaving CP. But then again वही greediness आ जाती है, राइट, कि यार सीपी में कैंडिडेट मास्टर मास्टर ये सब बन सकते थे. अरे ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, देख लेंगे वो. आई फील एआईएमएल को थोड़ा ज़्यादा टाइम देना चाहिए था. आई फील कि इफ यू गेट अ चांस देन if I were given a chance तब तो मैं अपने सेकेंड ईयर की किसी एक इंटर्नशिप को आई वुड ट्रेड इट फॉर एआईएमएल, ठीक है, कि लाइक वो इंटर्नशिप ना करके आई वुड हैव प्रोबब्ली अंडरस्टूड एआईएमएल बेटर. Third year I think. So third year से I started creating flow charts for my life. So it's like I have an entire flow chart which says कि इस अपॉर्चुनिटी में अप्लाई किया, इसमें नहीं हुआ तब क्या करना है, इसमें हो गया तब क्या करना है, उसको लेवरेज करके क्या कर सकते हैं. सो इट्स लाइक एन एंटायर फ्लो चार्ट. तो आई स्टार्टेड मेंटेनिंग दैट एंड आई थिंक तब से इट्स बीन अ बिट मोर ऑप्टिमाइज्ड. आई थिंक
Right.
बस वैसे ही, देयर इज नो डिसीजन आई रिग्रेट टेकिंग एज सच, बट देयर आर थिंग्स जो मतलब ऐसे माइन्यूट थिंग्स जो मैं शायद बेटर करता था probably.
Yes, I think you are one of the perfect example of a good sort of college student who utilizes and maximizes the time he or she gets, especially in India, because like most of the people are running behind this, either that, but you
Yeah.
took everything together. And ऐसा भी नहीं कि एक कर लिया फिर दूसरा छोड़ दिया. You took everything together, and yeah.
ऐसी अनहेल्दी है, बट मेरा यही फंड है कि अगर मतलब you can
हाँ.
afford 10 years of unhealthiness. I feel that कि
Right.
like 20 to 30 you're in your best form, you're in your best shape. तुम्हारे like there have been days when I've like slept for 3-4 hours and like ऐसे continuous days रहे.
So right, I think we are at the finally at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for joining and giving the time. And really amazed. Like I can feel the energy and the inspirational type of vibe that you get from someone कि मतलब हाँ इनके जैसा बनना है. So yeah, definitely getting that vibe, and I'm sure the people who are listening or watching this are also have felt some in some places. Right, thank you so much, Bhaiya, for joining in. Signing off. Bye.
Welcome, bro.